Knesset member Wasserman Landau. So first of all, good day to everyone. It's a great honor indeed to speak with all the people who have taken of their time to listen and to be part of this framework to try to understand the toolbox of international, what is the link between the actual work of the decision makers. As a person who grew up abroad and came to Israel at the age of 17, I grew up in South Africa. I call this a service, but it's really an important service in the foreign minister. I also served in Cairo for 3 years, and I cannot explain how much that enriched me and how much understanding of geostrategic policy that gave me. It can essentially impact every aspect of policy related to Israel. And I speak as the head of the lobby for the Abraham Accords, and I'd like to discuss my understandings based on the work of experts, people who have specific knowledge of certain countries and how these things can impact Israel's foreign policy, and to take this toolbox to the practical world. It may not have teeth, as it were, but this platform of the Knesset and the ability to champion subjects that can impact public opinion, to bring about discussions. This is a very important forum that can have an impact around the world in many different areas. This is indeed a possibility to give thought to subjects that are not always necessarily on the agenda, certainly of the media, which likes the areas that are more sensational, and to give thought to more complex issues. For example, where can the
איך אנחנו יכולים בעצם לראות במה שקורה בסודאן היום בבוקר עם ההפיכה ועם כל מה שקורה.
What happened this morning in Sudan, and understand it better in terms of the American response, whether it will lead to more progress or less progress in terms of the Biden administration, and will it strengthen somehow Sudan within the framework of the Abraham Accords. For example, how do we understand the parties who are both on the Democratic and Republican side in the US, and to make this subject and anchor it as a bipartisan issue? For example, one of the goals that may seem self-evident, what I and my co-chair in this lobby like to do, is to enlist all Knesset members, both from the coalition and the opposition. My co-chair is Ophir Akunis from Likud. I'm from Blue and White, from a coalition party. And that further illustrates how the Abraham Accords are above politics, or rather optimally, they are above politics. And he is going to enlist Knesset members from the opposition and I from the coalition in order to raise a kind of statement that we support the Abraham Accords. It may sound like a gimmick, but in the Knesset today, which is a place that's very, very difficult to find a place where the opposition and the coalition can agree with such a wide, a wide range of Knesset members can agree on, this will illustrate to the world and especially to the United States whether there is any concern that this subject is more a Republican issue like the media tried to say, and that Biden might have a difficulty embracing the Abraham Accords. I don't believe that's true, but some people say that's how it is. And that's just one example. Another thing that can be examined in depth is Israel-Morocco relations so that Israel can find the partners that are relevant to the lobby and to use that platform with the help of experts and researchers and institutions like your own to advance either joint legislation, which is very complicated, or at least declarations that have an important aspect. For example, a declaration against hatred and bigotry, which exists internationally and hasn't yet been made in Israel against all forms of hatred and racism and bigotry and so on, and many, many other examples. So first of all, thank you very, very much for your patience and for giving me this platform. And I'd like to congratulate Gil and Nimrod for their inspiring work and the depth of work and the joy they take in delving in depth into foreign policy to enrich it. I'd like to say a good word about the foreign ministry, which I keep close to my heart, and the staff of the foreign ministry that have done a great deal, both in terms of the Abraham Accords. They don't always get the credit that comes to them. And I'd like to invite you practically and wholeheartedly to be partners and to reach out to my office. My office, its door is always open, and we're in the Knesset almost 24/7 because of these all-night votes. And I invite you to come find commonalities and see where we can give added value to the state of Israel. Thank you very much.